Welcome back to another edition of Solforge Tips with Tiny Grimes. This week I'm going to talk about what I consider to be the best 10 cards in the game right now. For those of you who are newer to the game, you can consider these the cards that you should be hoping for when you open your packs. And if you're a veteran to the game, this is your opportunity to argue with me vociferously. The best card in the game, according to my list, is Zemus the Undying. What makes Zemus so great is that all 3 levels, he's a useful card at a minimum. At level 1, you're able to trade off almost always a 1-for-1 trade with some 5 health creature or less. At level 2, you essentially get a 2-for-1 with a 10-5 creature that returns from the grave. And level 3 Zemus is what makes Zemus amazing. Essentially, you have a creature that will always be on the board. When your opponent plays a Zemus 3, you know one of 2 things. Either you just lost the game, or you're going to have to outrace them, and that's going to be pretty much the only way you can win. In fact, there are only 2 legitimate ways to handle Zemus. The first is Botanimate, which will allow you to turn him into a vegetable. But you have to have that leveled, and essentially if you see a Zemus and you're running Botanimate, you should be leveling it. The other real answer is Metasculpt. And this at least you can use at level 2 to handle Zemus. You'll take away his opportunity to come back from the grave, leaving still a decent 14-7 creature on the table. You may be thinking right now, well, I can Electronet him, I can Energy Prison him, but guess what? Most players will have an answer to that by killing their own Zemus, thus bringing him back once again to wreak more carnage. My number 2 card is the Grimgaunt Predator, and this may be colored by the recent decks that I've been building, but simply put, the Grimgaunt Predator is a serious threat even at level 1. If you're running any sort of removal in your deck, any creature your opponent puts on the board is ripe for the plucking. You simply place your Predator in front of it, play a removal spell, and boom, on level 1 you have a 7-7 Predator, on level 2 immediately a 13-13, and on level 3 a monster. And you can do some really cool tricks with the Grimgaunt Predator. You can do things like, if they play an Echo Wisp, you can move your Predator over. You can play a Static Shock and kill it. Then you can move your Predator again with the Seismic Adept. Do another Static Shock, kill the other Echo Wisp. Essentially, he is an eating machine, and he is always hungry. Best part, he comes free on your account. One of the greatest days for me was when I opened that initial Solforge account and saw the word Grimgaunt next to another card. In the closed beta, Grimgaunt Devourer was the flavor of the month, but as soon as I saw the Grimgaunt Predator, I knew I had a new favorite card. My third favorite card is Epidemic. In my opinion, every game needs a mass removal card, and Epidemic is an excellent example of that. It's not overpowered because it's only doing 2, 4, and 6, but it is a very useful card. In fact, it's so useful that there have been threads talking about how broken it is. I don't think it's broken, but I do think it's necessary for the game and a really, really strong card. Number 4, you may be thinking I'm insane. How is Everflame Phoenix all the way down at number 4? The reason is simple. At level 2, he's less than stellar. He can be amazing if you happen to get him right on player level 3 or 4, and you can bounce him up to a level 3 Phoenix. He's great, but if not, what you're left with is a really great level 1 card, trades with pretty much everything, and a phenomenal level 3 card. At level 3, even killing the Phoenix is dangerous because it's going to do 10 damage to you. And if you're not careful, it's going to go back into its ash form and come right back again as a level 3 Phoenix. So when you open your first Phoenix, you'll probably dance around and be quite thrilled. My number 5 card is the Bright Steel Gargoyle. I've loved this card since the first time I opened it. I only have 1 copy of it, but it is an amazing card. Essentially, by it giving itself Defender when it's not your turn, it allows him to survive on the board much longer than most characters. And what it allows you to do is attack and then move in front of another creature, have it go into Defender mode, and kill that creature. Not quite as much at level 1, but at level 2 he gains armor 5, and at level 3 a ridiculous armor 10. In other words, it's extremely hard to remove the gargoyle with straight creatures. You need some sort of removal to adequately handle this monster. My 6th favorite card is the Flame Shaper Savant. This is another card you might think belongs higher on the list, but in my opinion, what makes the Shaper so amazing is the synergy they have with other cards more so than their individual power levels. And as well, Flame Shaper 1 is not that great, but as we start to move up to player level 2 and 3, the Flame Shaper becomes more and more powerful. Not only when you play a spell do you get its damage, you get the Flame Shaper doing damage as well, and whether that be a spell or a creature. The one downside is the Flame Shaper becomes more powerful as you play under-leveled cards alongside of it. So you get in situations where you have 2 level 3s, a Flame Shaper, and something else, and you're really torn. Do I play both level 3s, or do I play an under-leveled card? And that's what makes it number 6 for me. Still an incredibly powerful card. Echo Wisp is number 7 on the list. And Echo Wisp is a bit of a complicated card because if you use it aggressively on offense without roars to go with it, it becomes a very vulnerable card. I think where it's best in early levels is as a blocker, able to occupy multiple lanes and take out multiple creatures. And of course, if you live the dream and you start losing bad enough and you get an Echo Wisp 3 to fill all lanes, then it's extremely powerful. My number 8 card is Gox the Paragon. This guy is great in any sort of combo deck or any deck where you're looking for specific cards, which is, let's be honest, just about every deck. You want to find that Zemus? You want to find that Phoenix? Well, put your Gox out. When you get up to level 3, you're drawing 3 extra cards. Have you seen the Mono Aloyan deck with the Avatar? How does that Avatar get so big? A big player is Gox. I see Gox as being a staple in a lot of decks for a long time to come. So unlike a lot of the cards on this list that are directly impacting the board with their power, he's a little bit more indirect, giving you more options to take on your opponent. Number 9 is Ferocious Roar. This card, going especially into Utera with other pumps like Packmaster, becomes a monster. It's very difficult to trade effectively with Utera because you think you're going to be able to trade when you put a card in front of it, and then it comes around to their turn, they roar. They end up killing your creature, but you don't kill theirs. And as we get on to level 3, not only do you get 5/5, you get Breakthrough. So if you get 5 Echo Wisps, and then you put Breakthrough on them all, you will win that game. And the last card on my list is Botanimate. I mentioned this before, Botanimate is a really strong removal card, certainly the most versatile removal card in the game. Are you having a problem with Shapers? Are you having a problem with Zemus? Are you having a problem with Phoenix? This one card actually handles all of the potential problems you might face. Only downside is it leaves them with a 3/3 vegetable on the field, which can be frustrating if you end up Botanimating a lot of cards and you see a whole field of saplings staring at you. But that's okay. Just combine it with Epidemic and mow through them rather rapidly. Well, hopefully you found this video helpful, and it can help guide you in unpacking your packs and knowing what you're getting. And I'll see you next time on Solforge Tips with Tiny Grimes.